Welcome. I'm Master Lama Rasaji, and this is our Wednesday edition of Rasaji Speaks. Don't forget, today the gathering is back on live with Sister Lynette at 1 o'clock and Sister Dawn at 7:30. Going to be a lot of interesting things today because people are getting back from the tour. Should be quite interesting. So check it out. Tell them Lamaji sent you. Today's title is Boundary Building. Fortify your inner castle in today's society. Well, there's balance in everything, right? Unfortunately, the more you get into the Circle of Chi system, you realize that we're a system of balance. And the more balanced you become, the more unbalanced you are able to observe the world. Hold on just a second. In that concept, you'll turn the flashlight of consciousness on what's going on in your life and what's not. As you strengthen your 101 with Circle of Chi, what is your relationship of your mind to spirit, your breath, your movement, nutrition? What is your thing? I'll give you an extreme to think about. There was a great yoga master for years in India, is as recent as the 1980s and 90s. Most of the world kind of agreed that this was, without a doubt, a Siddha Yoga master, Siddha Yoga saint by the name of Dehindra Baba. Dehindra Baba. There was even the Discovery Channel years ago did a special on him. It was pretty amazing. Pretty much everybody felt this guy was somewhere in the 200 to 400-year-old in the same body. Notoriously, what he loved to do is he would move 4 times a year. And usually it was close to the Ganges. He would follow the Ganges, him and his aspirants, his disciples. He would only let people close to him that were doing their daily sadhanas. Why was that? Well, he understood that being around a lot of mortal people who were conscious of being mortal, or they were just unconscious of being mortal, but they were not really aspiring. They were always ready to hear his message. Usually he'd give a message from about 1 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sound familiar? And he'd have like this microphone, like you remember Gandhi having. Yeah, it was kind of an out-of-dated microphone, but it did the trick. And he would come out and he would sit on his yoga rug, usually with just a loincloth, just like he did. I remember I was there one day and had asked the master a question, and he loved the question about longevity. The next thing I do is he spoke to me not in Hindi, but in Sanskrit. One of the students of his was there standing beside me who did speak English. And he said to me that the master just wished you long, long life. And I felt a huge Shaktipat hit me in the tummy. And we were 100+ feet from where the master was. And we were kind of in the front of a group that was sitting around. This again was on my last trip to India, which would have been around 1989 when I was there. And it was a powerful Shaktipat. I mean, it really was. It was a beautiful blessing. And it was amazing. But he did this to keep himself to stay ahead of what's referred to as the pollution process. Was it extreme? Some people probably would think so. What we try to do is to have you understand that there's a time to cleanse. And if you're cleansing yourself, anywhere from 30 minutes to 90 minutes a day, and maybe once a week, you extend that to a couple of hours, primarily in nature, right? You will keep yourself clean. Psycho-emotionally, you begin to understand that you want to be in defense of your energy body. The unconscious people in our bloodline family, our friends that we've had in the past, they don't have the concept of respecting space, if you know what I mean. It's understandable. Even sometimes our group in COC, they don't really understand that concept. And so they get excited about something, and before you know it, they're unconscious to that concept. It's one of the reasons we do the tour every 60 days. We don't do it every week for a lot of that reason. I've had people from time to time tell me, well, maybe we should go to once, twice, 4 times a year at best. And I said, no, Lama Chi, as long as I'm guided to do so, we're going out there once every 60 days, but we're only going out there 6 times a year. Let the people decide when they're called to be there. And that's the way that it needs to be. And to keep the balance between you working on yourself and interacting, you got to understand the reason that most people reject longevity. They reject even the concept of somebody living hundreds of years, let alone thousands of years in your own body. Is because on a daily basis, they're interacting with mortals constantly and doing very little interaction with what is immortal. And that, my friends, speeds up the pollution process. And with it, it speeds up the aging process. The Lamasery was created with one of the most basic concepts in mind. It's a twofold mission that they've been honoring for over 3,000 years. And that is to teach you daily how to communicate with the divine in several different ways. We call that our spiritual practices or the sadhanas. But the other thing that they have done with all their masteryship and their mastermind concept and what they have shared together for 3 millenniums is, how do you create that balance and stay ahead of the pollution process? And they've done that with one basic observation. Very simple in our approach. Look at what the world is doing and do the opposite. Look at how most people eat themselves to disease. Maybe there's a different way. Look at people who move little or not. Maybe there's a different way. How do they breathe oxygen, let alone do they even breathe energy? Maybe, just maybe, there's a different way. Do they believe to live their life constantly with no accountability and the basic harnessing of the thought processes of their mind? Or just maybe there is a gentle disciplined, consistent way to learn to take control of all of these facilities. And then, brothers and sisters, relinquish control of your loved ones, relinquish control of, if you're a business owner, do you trust who you put in place? Lama G does. Even sometimes my team scratches their head. Maybe they don't think so and so should be in the position that they're in. They forget sometimes that Lama G put them in that position and that the Lamasery supports them to be in that position. Honor and respect their time. Honor and respect their space, and understand they work for the privilege and the grace for Lama G and our mission, which is a lot of your mission. And they do their greatest work when they can stay focused and grounded and love one another and love on you, right? But we can't always drop everything we're doing to answer certain things that you think that need to be answered, which more than half the time is driven by either birth trauma or death urge. You need to respect that, right? Moving forward, we need to respect everyone's beingness, everyone's psychic space. And we need to understand we come together at the Ascension Tours to grow, to love, to hug on each other, be there to each other. Don't turn what is miraculous into something that's petty. Don't try to take the members and use them for your own selfish gains or to feed your own ego. Don't try to take people that are growing and learning spiritually to function as a whole by themselves, interdependently, and you have not yet worked through all your codependent tendencies, and you've traded a lower level of codependencies, yes, for a higher level of codependency. And for what reason? Because you're still fearful of being alone. You're still fearful of working on yourself to the degree you're supposed to do that. Not by my standards, not by their standards, but by your higher self and the Holy Spirit standards. Look at the things that you run from, or do you now run to? Are you still scared of that mirror? Or are you at least every week dealing with that mirror once a week? Are you still scared of nature, or at least one time a week you take yourself off the clock, you immerse yourself in nature for several hours, doing your sadhanas, doing your Tai Chi Gong exercises? And do you consciously sometimes just relinquish the need to reach out to someone for the wrong reason instead of reaching out with them for the right reason? I noticed this weekend in Grand Rapids, there was a comment made by one of our people that's acutely becoming aware. She says, I notice when we ask Master David a question, he don't just answer right away. Thinks about it. You can see him reasoning with himself inside. You can see him going through multitudes of different facial expressions. But minutes later, when he finally delivers that message, it's far from being the ping pong mindset, is it not? Learn to do all that we do from the Kriya that's inside of them. And what does that mean? Do everything that you do with specific intention. That's right. With specific intention. Love people when they're with you and love them just as much, if not more, when they're not. And when you're with them, serve them. When you're in the servant's mold, it's hard to manipulate people because the two frequencies cannot exist simultaneously. It's referred to as the law of homogeneous species. Baraka Bashai to you and your glorious name. For some of you, it's not too late to check out Master David's morning class, which is at 9 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time. Tell him Lama G said hello. God bless you all, and see you tomorrow on Holy Thursday. Every Thursday here is Holy Thursday. God bless.